Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be looking at Flutter installation and setup. What is Flutter? Flutter is simply an open source UI framework and SDK created by Google for building mobile web desktop applications from one code base using the Dart programming language. Alright, so lots of features, hot reload. It's got pixel perfect UI, native speed, but the big thing is that it has just one code base. So you got iOS, Android, web, desktop, all from a single Dart code base, and that's really beautiful. Alright, so let's get into the installation and setup. You can later see here, right, that this is from my local computer, so it's not really online. At the end of the video, I'm gonna let you guys know how you could get access to this. If at all, I'm gonna talk about that. Okay, so let's get right into this. Installation and setup. Getting your Windows development environment ready, including every error fix you'll actually hit. And this is from my own experience. I'm on my Flutter journey and I'm documenting absolutely everything. So errors you might even have while installing it and setting it up, I'll tell you about all of that. Alright, so what you would be installing, these are the tools and why. First we got the Flutter SDK. Why? That's the framework itself. So we got the Android Studio. That's Android Studio. You need the Android emulator plus SDK tools required even if you're using Visual Studio Code, because we're actually going to be using VS Code. Then we got VS Code that you're going to download and install. It's lightweight, fast, and you're going to require using the Flutter extension. It's just really cool. So you got Git, you need that as well for version control. And we're also going to be using the clone, the SDK. Well, without even cloning the SDK, you could just download the zip folder and extract the files and resources there. Alright, so you could do this not necessarily step by step the way I've put here. You could mix things up if you want to, but it's still gonna work. Anyways, for the sake of the video, it would just make sense for you to follow through. Alright, so the part about installing Android Studio, that's step 5 over here. I just want to bring it to step 1, or let's say step 0, only because it takes a little bit of time to actually download. Okay, so let's do this first. Okay, just go to developer, or you could just Google it, Android Studio. Alright, so you want to go to developer.android.com/studio and you want to install it, download it, and install it. Okay, so that's it. I think it's about 1 point something gigabytes. So you want to just let that one start downloading. Okay, if you go fast internet, then that's better for you. I'm going to close this. Alright, so we've talked about that one. Now let's come back to the step-by-step setup. So the first thing you want to do here would be to create a Flutter folder on C, and we're going to call it source. Now all you need to do would be, or just before you actually do that, make sure you have git bash. Alright, click on this, and for whatever OS you got, install it. Alright, so to create a folder on C, you could do that using the Windows Explorer, your GUI, or the terminal. Alright, so using GUI would be here. Just open these up. So this is your PC, right? Your local disk C, and you're gonna see that we have the source folder. So just all you gotta do would be to right click, create a new folder, call it source, and that's it. If you don't want to do it this way, you could use your terminal, and I'm just gonna search for git bash, and I'm gonna hit enter, and I'm gonna come over here, and I'm gonna, if I do a list real quick, I'm gonna see that I'm not quite where I want to be. So I'm gonna go to cd space slash, and I'm in the root right now, so I'm gonna cd into C, and I can do a less, and I can see they can see the source folder over there. So that's it. But anyways, now that I'm in here, let's see folder, I can make a new directory, call it source folder, but I'm not going to do that because I already have that. So for you, it's either you do this like this from the terminal, or you just do it a simple way, which is this. Just right click, create a new folder, or you Control Shift N to create a new folder. Right, so you know all of that. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do would be to actually get the Flutter SDK, and how we can do this is simple. Two ways. The first way is to clone it, and the other way is to download a zip folder. So over here we got this GitHub repository. We're gonna go there. All right, github.com/flutter/flutter. So this is the actual open source repo, and all you gotta do here would be to click here and copy that URL to clipboard. And once you copy that, now if you were using command prompts, it will be very easy. Or let's say you embedded a terminal in Visual Studio Code, it'd be very easy for you to actually just install it, or clone it rather, by doing Ctrl-V to paste. And why I'm saying this is because if you were using Git Bash, right? So over here, right, if you want to clone that, make sure you're inside C. So you're gonna do cd source, get in there, and then you clone it in here. So this is gonna be git clone, and to actually paste here, if you do Ctrl-V, that wouldn't work. So you could either right click or use the shift insert, right click, paste. Okay, that's it. So but I'm not gonna hit enter because I've already cloned this. But if you've not done it, you can do it. If you're like, okay, you don't want to clone, you could use another method, which is, so this is just me showing you guys a couple ways to going around things for the installation and setup. So you could go to flutter.dev, which is this method over here. That's either you do this or this, right? So you go to flutter.dev and you go to get started. It's gonna open up for you, and very quickly we're gonna download a zip folder. So a quick way to move fast would be to go to custom setup. You want to scroll, click on install manually, and just select Windows, and you're gonna see that you have this Flutter SDK bundle. Just download a zip folder and extract it into the source folder. You know how to do that. I don't need to teach you how to do that, I'm sure. Right, so with that being said, once you're done either cloning it or extracting files there, once you're done with that, okay, then let's actually be sure that we have the SDK now. So what you're gonna do, check out for the version. So you're gonna do flutter -- version, and you should be able to see the version you have installed. But I mean, remember, we're still here inside our source directory, right? If you realize something, let's say I'm gonna come over here, open up Git Bash again, just another instance of it. Now I'm not inside my source directory, but if you realize that doing Flutter, though for me, if I do this, I'm still gonna see the version I have installed. But if you realize for yourself that, you know, it's only seen when you do it right here through this path, you do it right here through this path, and when you do it elsewhere, you don't actually like see the version. Something that you can do, which is gonna help some other future steps that we would employ, would be the next step. So right here, having installed, or rather cloned the SDK or extracted the files in there, now we're gonna add Flutter to Windows path. Okay, and how do you do that? We're gonna edit the system environment variables, and you're gonna see how to do that. We're gonna get to the path and create a new path right in there. So we're gonna open Flutter /bin, and how do you get there? So the clone that you just did, you need to open it up, or the extraction you just did, you need to open it up. So I'm gonna go open up this. You see that? So where are we? So the source folder, yeah, open it up. This Flutter that we just cloned, we're gonna open it up, and now search for bin, or you could just scroll and get bin, open it up. So you're inside bin right now. So all you gotta do would be to right click here and copy address, or you can just come in here, Control A, Control C, whatever is gonna work. Okay, all you need to do is just grab the address. You could just come over here, right click, copy address. Right, so open up your Windows, search env, edit the system environment variables, open up environment variables, and you want to go to a path. Now if you don't see a path over here, you can just create a new one and call it path. Okay, and over here we're gonna edit right now because we have path, and if you have path there, just click on path, edit it, and you come over here, and all you gotta do will be to add a new one. So you click on new and you paste this. You can see that I already have it here, right? So I don't need to paste it again, but you just paste it right there and you okay everything. Okay, that's all you gotta do. You paste it, you okay, but I'm not gonna do okay because I already have it there. I'm gonna cancel, but you would okay everything, apply and okay, so I'm gonna cancel as well. So with that being said, having done that, you're gonna come over here, and elsewhere you can literally run Flutter hyphen version, and you're gonna be able to see your version. So with that being said, let's move on to the next thing, which is gonna be for us to install Android Studio. But remember, we actually did this before, so your Android Studio might have finished downloading. All you'd need to do would be to install it. If you haven't yet installed it, just install it like any other software. It's very simple to install. Okay, alright, so having done that, install Visual Studio Code and get the Flutter extension. Okay, so you might have Visual Studio Code, you might not have it. If you don't have it, just go to code.visualstudio.com and you're gonna be good to go. Once you download it, actually install it. So I'm gonna close that. Right, once you install it, you're good to go. Open up Visual Studio Code. I'm gonna open mine up, and here we go. What you want to do would be to go to the extensions, Ctrl+Shift+X, and search for Flutter. It's gonna be this one right here. If you don't want to do Ctrl+Shift+X for the shortcut to get to the extensions, just click here, extensions. Alright, so this is the Flutter extension that we need to download, and you can see already that it has 13 plus install counts. You can see that, right? So that's all we need. We're gonna close that. Now, having done this, the next thing for you to do would be to run Flutter Doctor. Alright, so you have the extension right now, and just something to say here would be, so I'm gonna close this. Now, in your Visual Studio Code, if you run, not even a Flutter Doctor yet that we're supposed to run to do a little bit of diagnosis, but if you do Flutter hyphen version, and you don't see that you even have the version here, probably if you're using Git Bash, you could see it either through the actual path or any other paths, and everything was working nicely. You could see the Flutter version, but then you opened up Visual Studio Code and you run Flutter version and you can't see it. Alright, just close the program, Visual Studio Code, close it, and open it back up. Just restart it and it's gonna be good to go. Worst case scenario, just restart your laptop and you're gonna be good to go. Okay, so that's for that one. But right now that we've installed Visual Studio Code, we installed Android Studio, we've done all of these things. Just to take you through what we've done so far, right? We created a folder on C called the source. We then got the Flutter SDK by cloning or extracting, and it was there, and we copied that path and added it to our environment variables path. Remember, we did that, verified that we actually had Flutter, we were in a Flutter version, and it didn't matter what path or directory, it actually worked. Okay, and we installed Android Studio. Okay, we installed Visual Studio Code and as well installed the Flutter extension. Okay, so now we're in Visual Studio Code. We want to do a little bit of a diagnosis and run Flutter Doctor, which is going to help us see. It's going to go through our system and be sure that we have all the necessary things. That's, gonna give a thumbs up to our setup. Alright, so just come over here, Visual Studio Code, run Flutter space Doctor, hit enter, and let's see what we'll get. So let's see what we have. I'm disconnected, that's why you have this network error. So I'm gonna get reconnected in a little bit. Alright, so I'm connected again and I'm gonna do Flutter Doctor, hit enter. Alright, so here we go. This is what we have. Now this Visual Studio doesn't mean anything, alright? But anyways, right now you might be having a lot more errors, and a couple errors that you might be having. I'm sure you just might be having 2 errors, which might be something around CMD line tools component is missing, alright, and something about Flutter Android licenses rather, right? So for this one though, the CMD line tools component being missing, all you gotta do would be to open your Android Studio. Remember, we installed that, and you come over here, more actions, go to SDK manager, go to SDK tools. Right here, Android SDK command line tools. I have it installed, but you might be having that issue or you don't have it installed. That's the problem. So click it and you're gonna see a download button here, just like you click. I would click any other one that I want to have installed and I could just hit download there. So for you, check this box, hit download. It's gonna download it. Once it's done, apply and okay, and you're good to go. Alright, once you do that, you can go back to your Visual Studio Code and actually run that and do Flutter Doctor again, and it's gonna be able to give you a better diagnosis telling you that you fixed that one. Then for the other one, actually the one that has to do with the Android licenses, literally the error stated there has a solution there, because it literally tells you what to do to get the Android licenses by just running this code. So you got to do would be to copy that, come over to your Visual Studio Code, open your terminal, paste that, hit enter. I don't have to hit enter here because I already have everything working, right? So once you hit that, all you need to do to accept all the prompts would be to just hit Y, which means yes. So that way you're gonna accept the Android licenses. Okay, once you've done that, you just need to run Flutter Doctor. Now you've fixed all the errors. The only error you're gonna still see there, not really an error, is the Visual Studio not installed, right? If you see that, you don't need to bother, because what we're actually going to be using is Visual Studio Code. You see that, just like this, Visual Studio not installed. You see that, all right? So with that being said, you're good to go. If you follow through, that means you've done the installation and set up successfully. Congratulations to you. And now you're ready to move to the next step and continue learning Flutter. Probably it's going to be learning some Dart. Now you don't need to know Dart in a deep way. You could just learn enough Dart that's, good enough for you to excel in Flutter, Anyways, I'm currently on my Flutter journey and I'm documenting the process. So I look forward to putting more videos like these. I don't know when next I'm gonna do this, but hopefully I do another one, which is for sure not gonna be the installation, but now all the aspects of learning Flutter. Okay, that's pretty much about it. To get this over here, you can see that this is literally from my computer, local computer, right? I created this for myself because I'm documenting what I'm learning, literally everything. These were the errors I faced, and that's why I had solutions for them, and I'm literally documenting this. And why you can see it pretty much start like this, because I just put in a little bit of effort to make my documentation nice. That's why it's like this. If you want to get it, there is a Discord server that I do have, but I'm gonna figure out how I want to roll this. So just check out the description to see what you're gonna find there in order for you to get this, or join the Discord server or something. If I'm gonna put a link out there, I would, but just check out the description for more information about this. Alright, pretty much about that. Cheers. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and do have a beautiful rest of your day.